Bodie is turning on the...
We are now live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
Wow, he's fast. And so let's invite you into the Emerald Lady, the home of Mother-Son Productions, for these live reads. I'm so grateful you're here and so thankful to the Minnesota State Arts Board for awarding me a grant to do these live reads. I love getting the questions you've been sending me and doing my best to answer them, which I will do after reading a story today and sharing some art that's in the book. Here's, I like to call it the receiving room gallery, because when this historic home was built, this is where the guests would wait for the homeowners to come down and receive them. So I like to receive people with my art, and it is just a wonderful, the gift giving season is so happy making, because I love making gifts from the heart, which is my art.
Show us a few prints.
Oh, sure. So here's the original of this is actually in the living room. This is Japanese cranes in the snowfield. And, oh, there's, I think I have, you know, over 500, maybe 600, everything from insects to outer space. I have botanicals, I have lots of cranes, lots of birds. So there's lots to take in, and my son Bodie made clarecooley.com/shop. That was close to right.
No, you got it that time.
Oh, I got it that time. Anyway, you can see lots of my work there, and he makes beautiful limited edition numbered and signed prints right here at the Emerald Lady on archival paper, museum quality inks. It's I'm very proud at our team work of his technical talents and my hands-on skills. So let's share some of that with you. Here's the all seasons tree. We change the decor for every season. This is the gift-giving season, where I love bringing in the lights and all the colors, and we'll change it in spring, and then in summer and autumn, and we'll share that with you when we get there. But meanwhile, let's start by once again welcoming you to the Emerald Lady, home of Clare Cooley, artist, author, creativity coach, Bodie Werner, my movie-making, storytelling, technically talented son. I'm so grateful that I have his help and support in getting these live reads to you. It feels like a virtual visit. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, and this live reading virtual visit. I really appreciate having this way to connect with you, and it is something I want to express my gratitude again to the Minnesota State Arts Board for awarding me a grant to do these live readings every Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Time through the end of February. I will also be doing blog posts about writing, designing, editing, formatting, and publishing, self-publishing, hoping to inspire you to share your stories. Anything you want to write. Before reading, I'm going to answer just a couple questions and then share a little art, and then we'll get to the story and more questions after. Feel free to write in the comment bar or text any questions you have, and I'll do my best to answer them all after the reading, and if not this live read, the next one. So before we do that, I'd like to start with sharing a piece of art, Bodie, if you would. It's a big original that's before the story I'm going to read today. which is called Longing for Belonging. So do you want me to put the stool where you can sit on it?
Sure.
What's that? So this is called Mono Lake, and it's done with pastel, and it's hard with the lights and the reflection of the glass to get that so you can see it, but it's Mono Lake in California, and it's a very special and kind of mystical place. And so this is a pastel, and it's, there you go. Thank you, Lodi. And my memoir, Incandescence Rising Above Darkness, has 52 stories and 68 pieces of art and 40 photographs of different artistic projects and mediums I've worked in throughout my life. The paperback in full color or black and white versions can be ordered at any major bookstore or your local bookstore, or online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart. The ebook is also available on Amazon, Kindle, and Kobo. The link is in the description, and you can give stars to this live stream, and it helps support this work, and we really appreciate it. I wanted to also say that I really appreciate it if you tell others. I'm very confident in expressing my creativity and giving myself permission to explore many types of creativity, but I am very unaccustomed to promoting myself, and I obviously would prefer it if people would tell their friends if they think they would get something out of these live reads. And the blogs that I'm going to start on Monday, every Monday, through the end of February, there'll be a blog post that is more the how-to part of this process of finding what to write, how to set up your life to be successful doing it, and polishing it and designing it and self-publishing, all those steps. So there will be blogs every Monday, and I really appreciate you sharing with your friends and people that would appreciate the live reads or tuning in to the blog post. You can see the live reads I've already done. They're in videos on incandescencebook.com, and you don't have to have Facebook or any social media to go there. So you can tell people they can go there and see the live reads that have already happened. This is the 4th one, and there will be 15. So there's a lot to share. And I wrote the book to help others because people have told me all my life that, you know, sharing my stories has helped them to regain their hope and to heal their disappointments. We all have them, wounds and assaults and all sorts of things happen in a life. So my stories help people. That's what they told me, many, when I started sharing them. So hopefully you'll share them with people, because we could all use some help to you know, recover from disappointments and woundings in life. So you know, if you got a little extra hope, spread it around. So let's before I read this story, I wanted to share this unusual outfit. Most people who know me know that I almost always wear black, and it's because I'm a woman in a world that has a lot of sexism in it, and I am an artist, and I'm self-taught, And I didn't come from money or privilege or have degrees or things that give you often a advantage in being respected. So I've always wanted to be taken seriously, want to represent what I think is uplifting to women especially, but to all people. And so I'm almost always in black, and it's not, I'm not in mourning. I just am all about respect and doing things that elevate me and life for all people, and especially women, because I am one. And we do have an unfair and not, it's not good for anybody. Sexism is not good for men. They could sometimes think it's an advantage, but actually it doesn't help anybody, because the happier a woman is, the more affection and more generosity and love she has to spread around. So who doesn't want and need that? So let's
Boisano said beautiful.
thank you very, very much. And this outfit, it like almost everything that I'm going to start wearing my my fancy feminine clothes, because I'm facing my fear of, well, standing out and celebrating feminine beauty. And I made the jewelry and I dyed the outfit, and so I'm going to start sharing my artistry through my outfits now and face my fear. As a woman, we're all afraid to not be beautiful. We're afraid to be beautiful. We're afraid to stand out. We're afraid we're going to be criticized by other women or noticed by predatory men or whatever. There's so many fears that can come along with it. So I decided at my mature age, if I don't go for it now, maybe I could regret it by the end that I never did. So I'm going for it. So I'm just...
That's part of what this story's about, right?
That's what this story's about. And this story, like last week's, was suggested, Bodhi suggested this story that I'm going to read today. And I really appreciate it, those of you who have the book or know my stories one way or another. I love suggestions. I'm sort of equally unimpressed by my stories because I've already lived them and written them and healed them, or I wouldn't be sharing them. So it really helps me to get suggestions.
Erica Bree said, lovely outfit.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Clare Boisano.
Claire Boisano said, love all your creative outfits.
Thank you very much. And it is fun and liberating to just accept ourselves, be ourselves, and not worry about how others are going to perceive us or judge us. Those who should be in our life will accept us the way we are, appreciate our authenticity. So it's kind of a self-organizing system to be yourself in life. You find those who can love you for who you are. So
you want to continue with this? The next bit's about creativity coaching.
Yes, I hope I can help you strengthen your connection to your creativity, your confidence to express it, and your courage to share it. That's why I started in my 20s when people asked me to teach creativity as a creativity coach. Creativity can help us feel joy, enhance our lives. It can help us solve our problems and heal our wounds. Writing is healing as we express feelings, and it stimulates our immune system. Invite your critical mind to chill and your creative mind to play. I want to not only share my stories, but my appreciation for writing as a way to talk to the person who has the best chance of understanding us, ourselves, and helping us. Writing and reflecting on it is a way to come more deeply into knowledge about the person that will always be with us, us. We can be our own sacred witness by telling our truth through writing. The blank pages can be a safe place to receive anything we need to say. Writing does not judge us. Writing can hold all our feelings and secrets until we're ready to share them, if we choose to. Writing can be therapy to express what is too vulnerable to be spoken. What we write has no limits other than our own willingness to explore ourselves. When we write what is on our mind and follow its lead, we can go somewhere yet unexplored. So it's always an adventure to follow your own creative curiosities. And if you would like to set up a creativity coaching consultation, please email me at clarecooleycollection@gmail, or send me a Facebook message, text, whatever works for you. I love helping people express their creativity. It's equally satisfying for me as expressing my own, helping someone else express theirs and find what they're passionate about, what fulfills them. So we have a friend here in Duluth that after she came to me for some sessions, she realized through talking with me and me reflecting back to her what she was saying, a beautiful business, writing remembrance poetry for those who have departed to help those who will miss them, keep them with them. So her business, which the name, help me.
Honor and Comfort.
Honor and Comfort. I heard her say those words in one of our sessions, and I reflected it back to her as her own words, but maybe I had distilled it down so she could hear how beautiful that was for a business title. So, and then Bodhi made a beautiful website for her. So we love helping people, find what gives them joy and share it with others. So here we go with the story. And I think I'll grab my bench.
All right.
It's actually a stool, but all right. So this is chapter 42, Longing for Belonging. Christine had given me a shaman's book while I was in Italy. Her old monastery turned into an olive orchard. I put the book under my pillow, as I often did, instead of reading it. Later, when we were both back in California, she invited me to the shaman author's workshop. We flew to New Mexico together. Our white airport van full of weary travelers pulled up to the hot springs outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Christine didn't feel well and went home, but her daughter Elena stayed for the workshop. We enjoyed each other and became instantly close. She was honest and lighthearted, which was a nice fit with my often heavy honesty. I was nervous my writing would not be as good as the others, and my nerves were made sharper by the fact that this was my first workshop. Wanting to get over my self-consciousness right away, I raised my hand at the first session after all others willing to read their assignments. The shaman pointed to me and said, "Lady in the back, I don't know who you are, but I recognize souls." I stood up and looked around the room before speaking. Thank you for letting me face my fear. Then I read my piece, inspired by my assigned writing partner's object as we were directed. He brought a polished obsidian stone with flecks of silver about which I wrote, "Light blackness, womb of worlds, before the Big Bang, a minuscule speck containing all possibilities, Goddess blinks everything we can imagine into existence." Beautiful poem, the shaman teacher said before he paused and continued. And it is true, he said, but you need to get more primitive. That's very interesting, I said. My mother called me the elegant primitive. That's probably true, but you still need to get more primitive, he snapped. After the session, when no one else could hear, the shaman told me I was a poet. I went outside to meet my partner and said, I feel like I have found my people. But an even greater joy than my sense of belonging is my son feeling safe to share his first poem in school. Bodhi had written a poem for a class assignment, and it had stunned us. My writing partner shared the sweetness of the moment with me. When I went into the hotel lobby, Bodhi's poem I just mentioned was in a fax pinned to the board. It seemed like a perfect offering to the group as a token of appreciation for my feeling of welcome. After everyone else who wanted to read was done, at the end of the day, I said, I feel this is a gift for the group because of the magical timing of its appearance. And I read my 8-year-old son Bodhi's poem. Space, it never starts, it never stops. It is full and empty at the same time. Space is like an adventure, as the world is to me. It is a big nothingness that grows every day. To me, the stars are the fruit and space is the tree. I hope to one day reach the fruit and taste its glow with my eyes. The room sighed warmly. On my way back to my seat, I felt so comfortable, I said jokingly, I think I will quit and just let him write. A woman said, be his teacher. Yes, and he is my teacher, I replied. You should not show appreciation to children, it makes them strange, said a man with a particularly long face. I felt compassion for that man, imagining the childhood he must have had. I do not like people who do not shade their children from the direct sun, the shaman hissed. I wondered why he thought he knew anything about me as a mother. Why has this gift, a delicate flower, turned into a poisonous snake? I had surrendered my shields and stood bare before them, and those who did not like their own image in the reflected surface of my vulnerability shattered my mirror heart. Still water is easily disturbed. Moments before, I thought I had found some place I thought I could belong. Then in an instant, the dancing rainbows on the surface of my bubble burst. I spent my evening in my room writing. Quaking leaf heart, blown apart by winds of insecurity. No matter, in the eyes of eternity, all troubles tiny as a caterpillar's eyelash. Then I heard the people in the next room as if there were no walls. She should not have read her child's poem. Who does she think she is? I whispered to myself, why do I hear these words? What purpose other than to hurt me? I began to cry and briefly fell asleep. Then I awoke and wrote in the quiet dark. Fear takes sweetness hostage. Everyone who loses confidence in their worthiness fuels fire of disdain. Hold tight to convictions. Let the wind of gossip blow. Respect your integrity. Do not feed the desire to contain what cannot be contained. Fear fuels judgment. Love is the unshakable devotion to kindness. I thought those who had come to share with strangers would know themselves. They would be trustworthy and ready to be vulnerable. In the morning, I told my new friend Elena I didn't feel safe with the others and I was skipping the session to soak in the mineral waters nearby. There I found forgiveness and wrote, stand for something, become a target, dare to trust, be struck down, know infinite love, be hated by those who do not love self. Go to the well of forgiveness, drink waters of welcome, love with exiled heart. In the evening, my partner came to see me and asked me if I was okay. I told him I needed to be alone. I heard what they said about me through the walls last night. He looked sad. It isn't your responsibility. I only told you because I felt bad about abandoning you today. You do not need to do anything. Then we spoke about his mother-in-law's impending death, which made my difficulties seem small in comparison. He decided to tell the others I had overheard everything they had said about me. While I was eating in the dining room, the two from the next room approached me. As soon as the woman looked into my eyes, she burst into tears and started a fast-talking apology. At the same time, the man was saying, I'm so sorry, can you ever forgive me, please? I hugged her, saying, I already have. She pulled back and looked at me astonished. You have? Yes, I have. God, she continued while her tears increased, if I had to be such an asshole, I'm glad it was to someone, such a nice person. I was amused by the duality of it all, but held back a laugh. Feeling embarrassed about the public display, I stood and started walking, saying, let's talk there, and they followed. It is huge for me. I really needed this lesson, the woman said. This is very important for me too, I said. They both looked startled and confused. Why? The woman asked. Because of all the other strangers at other times in my life who did not know me and spoke cruel things about me. You are the first to apologize. She looked at me confused and asked, this has happened before? Yes. Because you're so beautiful, right? She asked. No, I answered, because I accept myself. My partner told me the shaman had asked where I was and then said to the room, she must be embarrassed she read her son's poem. When I heard this, I decided to rejoin the group the next day, but not to speak. That evening, the shaman was signing his books. I bought one and got at the end of the line. When I reached him, I said, before I ask for the gift of your signature, I would like to offer you a gift. I handed him my book, Book of Cranes. He took it in his hands, looked at the outside briefly and said, a feather, and immediately began a conversation with someone else. He slipped the book out of its case, flipped through it quickly, and set it on the floor, saying, I'm not signing any more books tonight. I was the only one still waiting. I picked my Book of Cranes up off the floor and left. Jealousy is much more common than I ever wanted to admit. I've not wanted to speak of it for fear it will make me a target. Truly hard to admit was the shaman was jealous, but he was a human being, more like the rest of us than different. The second to last night, the shaman was signing posters on the floor. I waited in the back of the room until almost everyone was gone. Only his wife remained in the front with him. I walked up, got down on the floor with him and said, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to try to give you a gift. I handed him my book while no one else was watching. He accepted it and said, it is beautiful. On the last day of the workshop, the shaman spoke for a long time about jealousy, saying, I am jealous of poets. They can just tell the truth. I have to drive it, and as Robert Bly says about me, until I drive it around the bend. Then I recalled the shaman telling me I was a poet on the first day. As I stood the first day and thanked the group for helping me to face my fear, I thought I was speaking about my fear of sharing my writing. I realized then it was a much greater fear of being the object of jealousy and the terrible pain of separation envy puts between people. I have suffered so much anguish because others thought I had something they did not. I know I deserve love, and those who do not know this will hold it against those who do. The irony of it all is I learned to love myself out of necessity. I had so little else growing up. It was born out of disadvantage rather than the privilege others project onto me. The last day during the shaman's long lecture, he said, if you are jealous of someone, give them a gift to transform your jealousy. My new friend Elena looked at me from across the room and mouthed the words, you have to get out of here. The moment the lecture was over, I bolted toward the door. Before I could get through it, a woman jumped in front of me. You are the most beautiful woman I've seen in. She paused. I wanted to run away. And seeing my discomfort, she finally continued, in a really long time. I suggested to Elena we go to the dining room before the others. As we sat there, 5 women who had not spoken to me the whole retreat came over and told me I was pretty. Another said, are you a yoga master? I mean, your body, you must be a dancer. Do you teach yoga? You must, because your body, I mean, the way you move, you are a dancer, right? Do you teach dance? Are you a yogi? She kept talking without giving me an opportunity to answer, which worked out considering I did not know what to say. Elena and I whispered after each left our table, boy, it's getting really high. It's going to hurt when they knock me off the pedestal they're putting me on. The man with the particularly long face approached me and said, you are a person of enormous grace. Feeling this was a genuine compliment and a gift for me rather than for themselves like the others felt. I thanked him. After eating, the group walked up the dirt road and got in the white van to go to the airport. Poem.
This is the poem.
Hmm?
This is the poem. Poem pure.
Poem pure, like a flower, turned into a snake, strikes me. Venom transforms hurt into sweet forgiveness. When we got back to California, Christine reminded me of the dream I told her while I was visiting her in Italy. The night I slept with the shaman's book under my pillow. I dreamt it was Halloween, but I didn't want to dress up. I just wanted to be myself. I went down to the water and there were 2 native men. One was feminine and comfortable with me. The other was masculine and threatened by me. An earthquake came and I suggested we go out into the water to get away from the rocks at the shore and float through the quake. After the shaking passed, we all walked up the dirt road, got in a white van, and drove away. I went to the workshop hopeful and longing for belonging. I returned and shared my experience with the family therapist who had known me for 15 years. I asked him, is it strange I'm feeling sad about women telling me I'm pretty? Do you understand why? He answered, I think I do. Is it that you've worked your whole life on polishing an inner jewel that they don't even see? At that moment, my longing for belonging faded into an appreciation for being seen. Yeah, thank you. I find this whole process of, first knowing that I was going to write my stories, to share with others and to give to the world, hoping it does indeed help people. And then reading them, as this grant I was awarded has given me the funds to do. And I found this story was harder for me to read, scarier than sharing my story about being sexually assaulted with my father passed out in the same room. Maybe because I am a woman and I want so much to be accepted and trusted and part of, womanhood and humanity. And so it's very interesting to reflect on myself, and it's part of the healing and the life-enhancing process of writing and sharing. And I am continually surprised, delighted, challenged to do it. And thank you so much for encouraging me, all of you who have, and all of you who appreciate it, and those who share it with others. It is so deeply, deeply fulfilling on every level. So let's share some art.
Yeah.
After that story are the warblers and wallflowers that, Bodhi, would you mind?
Claire Boisneau said, wonderful. And Pamela Carbon said, I always tell people react out of their own fears and anxieties.
That's right. I say, I love to distill things because life is so complicated and demanding, and I say fear makes us myopic. Fear wants to control and love wants to support. So you go ahead and take up the full screen with the warblers and wildflowers.
Let me
and-
pass.
Huh?
Let me pass them to you.
Sure. And one of the reasons birds are such a common recurring theme in my work is, well, besides that they sing and dance and fly and they're so beautiful, and these are all regional warblers and wildflowers from this area. They're just such a wonderful way to appreciate nature. I'm going to keep giving them to you. And they are also a biological indicator of the well-being of our ecosystems. And today, coincidentally, because I didn't realize it till last night with my an avian biologist friend, that today is the Christmas bird count. So counting the health of the birds and the different species is a way of seeing the effects we're having on the environment. And for me, if I lived long enough, I would paint or draw every kind of bird, and just in case some more of them, because we've already lost some species to degradation of climate, of habitats, and encroachment into their habitats, and, well, war, pollution, unconscious building. So they're precious, and they have, I heard a podcast very recently where they literally hooked people up to determine well-being, brain chemistry well-being, and seeing and hearing birds makes people happier. And a lot of the art that I've done in my life is sometimes when I've lived in San Francisco in densely populated areas where there wasn't nature immediately available, I had to meditate on it through my art. And
It's just one.
so I draw, paint, etch, carve what makes me happy, what increases my joy to contemplate. It's a meditation, and that's what I want to share with others. Yeah, so there's only 4 of these warblers in the book after with, I don't know, 600 pieces of art in my portfolio, picking 68 to go in between the stories. Some of them are, like the 4 warblers and wildflowers together. You have to just make selections. So I did it very instinctively, very spontaneously. I didn't stress about it. I just went with my heart, and they don't necessarily have any literal connection, which is one of the reasons I self-published, because the publishers who wanted to publish my stories and wanted to publish my art, they wanted to separate them into the art in a coffee table book, which could happen someday. But this first book with my stories, having the art in between the stories, the moment of meditation and appreciating our precious one-of-a-kind home, Earth, is very, very important to me. It's who I am. It's nature and creative expression and love is how I got here, and it's what gives me joy, and that's what the best I have to share with others. So, questions?
Sure, I have a few, and while I'm pulling those up, Claire Boisneau said, "This series is so beautifully done, such delicate drawings and soft colors."
Thank you.
And Pamela Carbon said, "Beautiful drawings."
Thank you very, very much. Yeah, I love soft colors. I love delicate lines. There's a lot of harshness in the world, and I love the balance of the delicate and the soft, with especially where humans live. There's streets and sidewalks and hard buildings, and so I love the duality.
Great.
Question.
So one question is, where do we get the art?
Well, the art, the limited edition museum quality prints in small, medium, or large. If you go to clarecooley.com/shop, that is the website Bodhi made that has a lot of my art on it. And it will always be getting more art. And that's where you can see that, and you can order them through us, and we don't have to put a middle person price on it or double it through a gallery, because I believe art is for everyone, and I love it to be affordable.
Great. And I'll answer the next one. So the next question is, can I get the ebook on my phone and my computer? The answer is yes. If you get the ebook through Amazon or Amazon Kindle, you can open it up on whatever device you want. So you get the ebook and you can open it up on your iPhone, your iPad, your Android device, your computer. You just have to have the Kindle app installed on your device. but you can also find the ebook on kobo.com, Kobo. But it's super easy to get it on Amazon.
Okay, and as we said in the beginning, you can order it through your local bookstores or go to the big ones or go to incandescencebook.com, and it does have information there about where you can get the different versions of the book, as well as recorded versions of these live reads that you can watch anytime or watch again or share with people. After it's live every Saturday at 2, then the next day it will come out as a...
It's there now. They go.
Oh, it's already there. Wow. He's so good at technology. And like I said, the blog that will start with why write in the first week, and the second week is what to write, and it goes through the whole process. It ends up talking about every aspect all the way through designing and self-publishing. So it breaks it down every Monday. When the blog will go up as written and video. So
Merv asks, how does it feel to share it? I love it, but isn't it scary being so honest?
Great question. Thank you for asking that. And you know, we are who we are, and our truth is our truth. And I find it empowering to share my truth. Yes, it's vulnerable, and yes, it's scary, but it's also very empowering, because you know, if we go through life, as many people do, acting the way we think we should act, acting, not talking about the tough stuff, the difficult stuff, not admitting vulnerability, fear, weakness, we never really know who can accept us for who we really are if we're pretending to be all the time, you know, cool. I remember as a little girl hearing people get asked, how are you? And everybody always said fine. And I'm like, I could tell they weren't fine. Why are they lying? So I decided very young in life to be honest and awake, and to tell my truth, and to be kind, even to myself. And being kind to ourselves means we don't pretend that we're always cool, we're always okay, because that's not real. And if you're never really yourself, you don't know who could love you for who you are. Right. So yeah, it's scary, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah, one comment I missed earlier, under what Pamela said about people are talking about their own fears and anxieties. She also wrote, sad that we live in such a judgmental world.
Yes, if you love yourself and you accept yourself, you are less likely to have any need to judge others. And so when people judge us, they're really saying that they are having trouble accepting themselves. And so if you are okay with who you are, then you are more likely to be okay with other people. And I do judge when people are cruel, dangerous, are disrespectful to themselves, each other, or the environment. But other than that, be yourself and love yourself. And people who have time to judge other people, well, they're not very interesting. They don't have very interesting lives if you have time to sit around and gossip and judge other people. I don't have any time for that, and I prefer people that are inspired by their own lives enough to be busy with their curiosities.
And Sal asks, why 52? Why 52 stories?
There's many reasons for 52. 52 weeks in a year, 4 seasons in a year is a nice um, symmetry that you have to decide where and where the edges of your canvas are, and if it's a book or a collection of stories, how many, or you could just never be done. It's also the year I was born in, and the year of the water dragon in Chinese philosophy, which I don't know. I don't really have an opinion if there's any truth to astrology, whether it's Western or Chinese, but I just love dragons. They were the first things I drew as a child. And a woman came up to me before I'd ever heard of dragon, Chinese astrology, water dragons, and said, "You're a dragon." And I thought, how does she know I draw dragons? And then later I found out the water dragons are the dragons that are supposedly for the common good, the dragons that are the leaders for the greater good. So I love everything about 52, and the idea of organizing the book and the art and the stories. In fact, I had 3 stories that I needed to add, so I made part 1 and part 2 of 3 stories so they could come out to 52, which worked out. They do, the 2 stories, part 1 and part 2, work and make sense, but I was attached to the idea of 52, and maybe people, I love the short story, Busy Lives, that people could ruminate on it for the full week. Everybody's got 15 minutes to read a story, or most people, in a busy life. So no matter how busy, they could take in a story and think about what it inspires in them over that week, and a year later.
Claire Boisano said, so well said, Claire. And Eris Vafius said, fire dragon here. So she's a fire dragon.
Good for you. Well, the dragons are supposed to be the leaders. John Lennon, whose birthday I was born on, 12 years later or something like that, he was a dragon too, but there's different kinds of dragons and they have different attributes, but of course, I could just believe there's truth to it because I like it, but that's a good enough reason.
And Erica Bree said, thank you for sharing. I enjoy your readings.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How are we doing on? We have 5 minutes, so let's...
what was the most difficult story to write?
Well, that's a very interesting question. And when I wrote these stories, lots of them were the most difficult to write until I wrote the next one, because there's feeling, there's hurt, there's vulnerability, disappointment, sometimes even violence in some of them, and there's some death, there's some hard stuff. So I'm feeling it when I'm writing it and when I'm remembering it. And so many of them were really the hardest story. And then there'd be the next hard story. But none of them are hard anymore. They are proof we can heal by telling our truth, which is back to the other question about, isn't it difficult? Yes, but if we share the difficult stuff, especially with ourselves and a sacred witness or a number of people, even strangers, we heal, we let it go, we rise above it, which is why it's called incandescence, rising above darkness. And we don't have to carry it anymore. We don't have to carry any shame. We don't have to carry any blame. We can just let all that stuff go. be happy.
Beautiful. Want to wrap up with the teleprompter?
Sure. Please join me and come back at 4 for Bodhi's live read of his completely different work, which is fiction, sci-fi thriller at 4 today and every Saturday. And his live stream you can see on his profile or by searching northportstory.com and select the event page in the menu. And I'm honored he asked me to work with him and named us Mother Son Productions. And as you can see, we're a good team. We have very different skill sets and perspectives, and it's wonderful to combine them and be greater combined. It's deeply fulfilling, and I really, really appreciate neither he or I are good at self-promotion, but we're embracing it, and it's part of what you have to do as an independent artist, and the part of this is a business, and I'm, for the first time, excited about really growing it, because the more I grow it, the more people it helps, and that's really exciting. So please share it with others. Help us by telling other people that about my book and art and his sci-fi thriller Northport 1999. Thank you for being here. It really warms my heart, and it really feels like a virtual visit with you. I can feel you. And thanks again to the Minnesota State Arts Board for awarding me a grant to do this. And the first blog post will be out on Monday about how to write, design, self-publish, and every Monday after that. And these live reads, mine will be Saturdays at 2 Central Time. Meanwhile, stay creative, do what gives you joy. Please tell others about this, and see you next Saturday.
And Eris said, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And Erica Bree said, I enjoy Bodhi's readings. They are absolutely perfect for cooking and baking.
Nice.
Thank you, Erica.
Nice. Very great. Very great. Well, thank you so much for being here, and come back at 4 for Bodhi, and next Saturday at 2 for, and please send in a suggestion of what I should read next, or questions. I love hearing from you, or just things you felt or thought of, anything you want to share. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Ending.